Hi, hello everyone. In today's session, we will be discussing about the next module in AI 900 exam. So in my previous video, I discussed about how to create a machine learning model with the visual tools that are available in Azure. So in the last video, I showed you how to create an automated machine learning. In today's video, we will be seeing how to create a regression model in Machine Learning Designer. Okay, so you all know what is a regression model. It is a supervised machine learning model. So if your label is a numerical value, then you will be using a regression model. Okay, so all your features, input features and your label is a numerical value, then you will be using a regression model. Okay, so now how to do the lab? I am just concentrating only on the lab part. So the first foremost thing you have to do is you have to create a machine learning workspace, which I already showed you in my previous video, and also to create a compute resources. Okay, and then we can directly go and upload the data set. Okay, so here if you see we are going to upload a data set here. The data set we are going to use is automobile price data. Okay, so this data is already available in the sample data set. So now you can go to the machine learning studio. We are going to create the machine learning model with the designer. So just click on start now. Okay, select a new pipeline. Okay, you have to select where you have to run your model. So select the compute cluster. So once you have selected, now this is a canvas. So here you can drag and drop. So in the sample database, you have the automobile price data. Just drag and drop the data set. We are going to create a regression model. Now right click and visualize the data set. So this is the data set. So here you can see there are 26 columns and 205 rows. Now these are the columns. Now you can see the columns. These are the columns you have, and the final column is a price. So what you want to predict, you want to predict the price. It's a continuous variable. Okay, so you want to predict the price. So if your label is a continuous variable, then you have to use a regression model. Okay, now all these other columns, okay, so this column is the target column. Now all the other columns, okay, is going to be the independent variable, okay, are going to be the input feature for creating a machine learning model. Okay, okay, now now we have to do the process of data pre-processing before we start creating the model. Now what is the first thing we are going to do? We are not going to select all the columns. Okay, so we are going to select only some columns from the available data set to create the model. Now what are the columns that we are going to select? So what we are going to do, we are going to select all the columns except normalized losses. So this column is not going to make any difference in predicting the label. So we are going to neglect this column. So what we will do is we will go back to the canvas. So here we will, let's drag and drop the select column module. Okay, select column in the data set. Just drag and drop. Okay, attach the output of data set to this column. Okay, click edit column. Now add what are the columns that you want to select. Okay, so except I am going to select all the column except normalize losses. Okay, click save. Okay, this one is over. The next thing what we are going to do is we are going to clean the missing data. Okay, so if you want to clean your missing data, first you should know which are the columns are having missing data values. So if you see here, you have to analyze which columns are having missing data values. The first column is not having any missing data. Second column, yeah, you have missing data. Normalized losses, I think we neglected this column, so we can leave it. Next one is make, no missing data. Fuel type, aspiration, yeah, number of doors is having missing values. Okay, number of doors. Just I'm checking which column is having missing value. Still now only one column is having missing value. Yeah, this is second column. Number of doors, board, stoke, horsepower. Okay, so we have to include all these columns in the data set. Okay, so let me click on the missing value data. Clean missing data. Let me drag and drop this module here. Okay, attach the output, then click on edit columns. Okay, so number of doors, bore, stoke. Okay, bore, stroke and horsepower. Okay, click on save, and you have to select how you want to clean the missing value. Suppose I want to replace a missing value with mean or median or mode, whatever you want. Okay, so you can replace a missing value with the mod. So once you finish cleaning missing data, so you can see the next module, normalize the data. Okay, so what is the use of normalizing data is each value, each column is having a different scale. Okay, each one is measured in a different scale. Some is measured in points, some is measured in centimeters, some is measured in inches. So each one is measured in different each one is measured in different points. So you're going to normalize it. So we'll go to the next one, module. Just click on normalize data, drag and drop normalize data here, select the output of clean data to normalize data. Okay, click on this. You have to select what type of normalization you need and what are the columns you want to normalize. Let me select all columns and remove the columns which are categorical. Okay, so we have to find out only the numerical column and we want to normalize. So symbolic, wheelbase. Okay, there are some columns, we have to select only those columns. Just select all the columns and then click save. So once you have done this step, you can just click on submit and check what is the output. You have to create a new experiment name. So let me write it as automobile exp1. Okay, so create a new experiment. See the target compute cluster is selected here and then click on submit. You can see each module is started running. So we'll just check the data set before we start creating the model. So you can see the status of the model here. So you can see here it is running, so it has not yet started here. Here you can see the status of the module. So once it is completed, we will see the transformation, how the data set is transformed, and then we will start creating the model. So now the run is completed. Let's check the normalized data. So you can see the transformed data here. So you can see all the numerical data are converted to a same scale. You can see here. So once this is done, now we can start creating our model. So to create our model, first we have to split our data into training and testing data set. So we will just call the split data module. Okay, so if you want to split the data, you have to tell what is the percentage. So for training, we will select 70% of data and testing will be 30% of data. Okay, and the random split, so the random seed we will select it as 1, 2, 3. And suppose you want equal number of suppose you have in the label column you have true and false, and you want equal number of true samples and equal number of false samples present in your training data set, then you have to give stratified split and make it as true, and you have to select which column should be the stratified column. Your final column, that is your label column, only is the stratified column. So it's nothing but you're making sure all number of classes are present in equal in the training data set. Okay, so once the split data is done, now you have to start training your model. So we will call train model okay, train model. Now the training data set will be given as an input, and then you have to select what algorithm you want. So we will be doing a regression, so we will select linear regression. This is the algorithm we are going to use. Okay, here if you want to change some regularization values, you can change. These are the learning parameters. Okay, if you want to change, you can change, or you can leave the default value. Okay, so to train our model, we are going to give linear regression algorithm to train our model. So in the model training, you have to select on which column you want to train. You want to train on the label column, so select price. Okay, so training model is over. So once a model is trained, you have to select score model. Okay, to score the model, the trained model is given as an input and the testing data set is given as an input. So once the score model is done, the last step is evaluate model. That's it. Now click on submit. Okay, we can use the existing experiment name and click submit. Yes, done. The pipeline is completed. Now you can right click and see the evaluation results. So this is the evaluation results. You can see the statistics. What is the mean absolute error, root mean squared error, okay, the coefficients of determinant. Okay, you can see the various parameters. Okay, for the this is the evaluation component. Now if you want to see the scored model, this is the scored data set. Okay, so this is the original value and this is the predicted value. This is the original value and this is the predicted value. So you can see this is the scored labels as a little close to the original value. Okay, now after we finished done this, if you want to publish this as a web service, you have to click create inference pipeline, a real-time inference pipeline. Okay, you want to create a web interface for this module, you have to do these steps. So once when you click the inference pipeline, you can see your model is converted here. You can see automatically web service input is added, and here you get a web service output. Now for this, when the user types in the values for the different attributes, the user will get the price as the output. Okay, so the user will give the input and the user will get price as the output. Okay, so here there is no need for evaluation model. Okay, and similarly the user will give the input, so no need for the entire data set. So you can delete this data set here, and then instead of that you can see, you can drag this. You can see you have to put a module called as enter data manually. So you're going to enter the data manually. Okay, the user is going to enter the data manually. So let's drag and drop that module. Okay, so when the user gives the data, the user will finally get the price as the output. Okay, so here you can see in this learning path automatically they have given the values for this. Just copy this and paste it here. Okay, this is the data we are going to give and it is in the CSV format. Okay, now connect this to the selected column data set. Okay, and then in the output we don't want to see this code, we don't want to see all the other values, you want to see only the scored labels, only the output you want to see, right? So here before we give the output to the web, here we are going to select only some attributes. So let's write a Python code here. So if you see here, execute Python script module is selected. So what we are going to do, we are going to write a Python code and select only few columns from this code model and give that as an output to the web. Okay, so let's drag and drop that column, execute Python code. Okay, the script is given in the learning path. Just copy paste the script from here and then paste it here. Okay, so the script is just select only few columns from the scored model. So I don't want all the columns from the scored model, I just want only the few columns. What are the columns you want? That alone will be selected and given as an output to web service. That's all, we finish. Now click on submit. You can give a same experiment name or you can select a different experiment name. After your experiment is run, just you have to click on deploy. So when you deploy, you have to select the inference cluster that you have created. I already told you how to create an inference cluster. A Kubernetes cluster will be created. So there we have to deploy the model. So after this is run successfully, click on deployment and select the inference cluster that you have created and then submit. Okay, it will take a few minutes to run. After it is completely run, you can very well go and test your web service. Just click on test. You have to enter the values for some columns and when you click on test, it will give you the answer. It will predict the price.